Was direkt anfängt. Ich hasse diese Spiele. What Remains of Edith. Edith! Finch. Was ist hier mit dem Sound? Audio. Bisschen runter noch. Klingt schon relativ leise. Naja. Muss mich auch nicht so hören. Ich rede eh nicht viel. Weg. So, was muss man hier? Puget Sound Ferry Lines. Was? Ich kann auf Shift zoomen, auf Steuerung zoomen, auf Alt zoomen, auf Rechtsklick zoomen, auf Q zoomen. Kann ich das machen? Pfeiltasten? Nee. Oh. Edith Finch. Eine Geschichte. Oh,
a lot of this isn't going to make sense to you, and I'm sorry about that. I'm just going to start at the beginning, with the house.
So, jetzt aber. Okay, ich kann nicht rennen. Ich habe einen Körper. Ich bin ein bisschen dick.
I lived here until I was 11, but I wasn't allowed inside half the rooms. Inside the mailbox were bills from 7 years ago, marked urgent, open immediately.
Die lassen wir da weitere 7 Jahre lang liegen.
I hadn't been back since my brother Lewis's funeral. In her will, my mother left me a key, but didn't tell me what it unlocked. Maybe she thought I'd know. Or she thought that the mystery would be enough to bring me back.
Der Finches. Abenteuerfahrt.
The truth is, even after I inherited the house, I never thought I'd come back to it. But now I had questions about my family that only the house knew the answers to.
Ja, der Garten hier, der sieht auch
The woods around the house have always been uncomfortably silent. As
ungemütlich
if they're
still.
about to say something but never do.
Ist doch schön.
The house was exactly like I remembered it, the way I'd been dreaming about it. As a
Das ist voll ein
child,
geiles
the
Haus.
house made me uncomfortable in a way I couldn't put into words. Now, as a 17-year-old, I knew exactly what those words were. I was afraid of the house.
Diese Worte ziehen mich irgendwie an. Gehen wir direkt hinter das Haus. Riss. Ich bin eine Katze?
Crawling through the doggy door used to be a lot easier when I was 11.
Ich bin eine Katze.
The power had been turned off the night we left.
Schade. Ja gut, hier drin ist auch noch hell. Aber vielleicht wird es bald dunkel. Oder was? Kann ich das Cuttermesser nehmen? Nee, ne? Ich bin
For the first
instinktiv
time in years,
direkt richtig. Tür auf.
I felt like I was home.
Okay.
But instead of a family, there were just memories of one.
A loving memory, Edith Finch. Das ist meine Familie. Jetzt ist niemand mehr da. Oh. Wo lang, wo lang? Viele Bücher.
The table was still a wreck from the night we left. It was like a bomb had gone off, killing everyone but sparing the furniture. My mom was the only one of us who could imagine Great-Grandma Edie living in a nursing home.
Warum sind die denn
Nothing
hier
in the house looked abnormal.
abgehauen?
There was just too much of it, like a smile with too many teeth.
Durchzubeenden. Ah,
Even the fireplace had a story. Edie told me the bricks came from the original house, after it sank. Great-Grandpa Sven built a music box for Barbara, along with the rest of the house.
ja.
Mom always told me to stay out of the basement, so I wasn't too surprised when the key didn't fit.
Ah. Aber ich will in den Keller. Was ist in dem Keller? Was ist das für eine Familie? Oh, ich habe einen. Was ist das hier?
Edie told me once that every Finch who ever lived is buried somewhere in the library.
Ja, das kann ich mir vorstellen. Okay, kann ich das hier öffnen? Das ist versiegelt. Was ist das? Da liegt. Was ist das?
A lot of things got left behind in the whirlwind of that last night. My mom wasn't much of an optimist, but she never stopped believing that my brother Milton was alive.
Ach du meine Güte. Wahrscheinlich ist der im Keller verloren gegangen. Eddie Dawn Milton. Bei Briefe, warum verlässt man ein Haus so abrupt? Geh mal hoch.
After Milton disappeared, Mom sealed up all the bedrooms. Then Edie retaliated and drilled peepholes. My Grandpa Sam spent 7 years sharing a room with his dead brother, Calvin. As a kid, I just assumed every house had peepholes and sealed rooms you weren't allowed inside of. The last time I was in Edith Sr.'s room, I was 10 and she was painting my portrait.
Also das kommt mir alles sehr komisch vor hier. Das auch alles ist versiegelt. Warum? Molly.
Molly always seemed like a girl I could imagine being friends with, if she hadn't died in 1947.
Ja, und dann wird einfach oben drauf ein neues Zimmer
I
gebaut.
spent a lot of time playing in Great Uncle Walter's room. I think my mom sometimes regretted not sealing it up. Louis told me there were secret passages, but I never believed him.
Also als Kind wird dieses Haus so ein Traum.
Turns out, my mom was really good at keeping secrets.
Chapter
Now
1.
it was time to find out what my mom had been afraid of.
Wieder wie so eine Katzenklappe. Zum Glück bin ich nicht fett. Sonst wär's
Reading
das.
this, maybe it sounds like I had a plan. From the paintings on the wall, it was clear my brother Milton had been here before me. But I had no idea what was behind that door.
Oh.
Just like I had no idea where all this was gonna lead. I got the sense Edie had spent a lot of time here, before my mom sealed the doors.
December 13th, 1947. Dear Diary, I'll be gone soon, but I wanted to tell somebody about what's gonna happen. It started when Mom sent me to bed without dinner. I woke up and I was starving, so I looked around for something to eat.
Gehen wir zu dem Hamster.
The
Ein
gerbil
Haus
food was dry, but I didn't mind it.
Raus kann ich bestimmt nicht, oder? Ich kann aber aufs Klo und was trinken. Da ist auch
I
noch
kept
was.
eating and eating.
Okay. Kein Wunder, dass die da stirbt. Ich.
I ate a lot of things that night.
Boah.
Then I heard chirping outside my window.
Cheep, cheep.
It was a barn swallow going back to her nest. I reached out for her. And suddenly,
Huch.
I was a cat.
Hüpf.
I tried to be quiet, but the bird was really scared.
Es ist Weihnachten.
Mom and Dad didn't even look at me.
Ich kann leider nicht. Uah. Vorsichtig, kleine Katze. Vorsichtig. Nicht den schönen Vogel fangen.
I jumped and I almost got her. I could tell she was getting really tired. Now I was up in the big tree. I promised Dad I wouldn't climb it anymore. All I cared about was eating that mama bird. I gobbled her up,
Uah.
and suddenly I was an owl. First, all I heard was the wind. Then I heard little teeth nibbling in the grass. Rabbits.
Jetzt kann ich nicht mehr zoomen. Wo sind die Rabbits? Rabbits! Da! Rabbit!
I imagined his face looking up and seeing mine through my talons. I swallowed him up, and I didn't chew one bit. Then I flew off to find something bigger. A mama rabbit.
Mama Kaninchen.
She was almost too big to carry. I started choking, but I couldn't stop eating.
Ach du mal, Eule den ganzen
And suddenly,
Hasen.
I was a shark.
Ah! Ah! Au, au, au. Oh my god.
I rolled off a cliff and into the ocean. Now, I was hungrier than ever.
Na, kommt doch ein Leckerbissen.
I wanted fat, juicy seals.
Lecker, lecker, lecker.
I tore off her flipper, and it tasted really good. I grabbed on tight, but I was so hungry, I jumped out of the water. When I opened my eyes, everything had changed. Now I was a monster, and I smelled people everywhere. I was big, but I moved real quiet.
Schnapp. Ja, ein Kind hungrig ins Bett zu schicken ist nicht gut.
I wanted to stop, but also I didn't.
Captain?
After the last passenger, I was still hungry. And across the water, I smelled something new. Something I had to have, so I swam towards it. I slithered onto the sand, and the good smell went into an old pipe.
Ein altes Rohr, das riecht bestimmt toll.
I got closer and closer.
Nein. Oje, oje, oje.
All my stomach started growling. And suddenly, I was me again. I held my breath for a long time, but I couldn't hear anything. think it's waiting for me to fall asleep. But it's not going to wait much longer. It needs to feed, and we both know I will be delicious.
I'm not sure if I believed all of that, but I'm sure Edie would have.
Wird gespeichert. Okay, was ist da noch?
I grew up looking at Molly's room through the peephole. Molly's gerbil had a tiny bedroom with its own even tinier gerbil cage.
Oh.
Being inside for the first time, I felt like I'd stepped behind a painting. I can't describe it, but I felt like some part of Molly was still here. This will be obvious later, but my mom never told me any of these stories. Edie would have, but Mom didn't like bringing up the past. Though, when we adopted a stray kitten, she was the one who named it Molly. I spent a lot of time in Great-Grandma Edie's room. We got along, and it was a good place to hide from my mom.
Warum ist denn die eine Kassette da rot? Edith Junior, Lake Trip. Weird American. The Finches. Gott, es gibt...
Edie gave a big interview about a mole man living under the Finch house. My mom was furious.
Ah.
I hadn't thought of myself as Edith Jr. for a long, long time. One summer, they evacuated the island, but Edie refused to go. For a few weeks, she was a celebrity. When Edie told people Sven was killed by a dragon, she could also have said he was building a dragon-shaped slide that collapsed. She could have, but she didn't.
Das ist auch eine viel bessere Geschichte, ne?
Even in her 90s, sometimes Edie seemed a lot younger than my mother. The only trace Grandpa Sam's first wife Kay left on the house was the pink bathroom. It was a pretty big trace.
Ja. Oh. There's a secret in this bathroom. By Sven and Edith Finch.
There's a secret in this bathroom. It's in the last place you would look. It isn't in the cupboard. It's hidden in this book.
It's hidden in this book.
Sven gave Sam an old camera he'd refurbished. He never put it down. I knew Grandpa Sam had a twin, and that he never talked about him. I guess my grandpa didn't like history any more than my mom did.
How I Want to Remember My Brother by Sam Finch. The thing I remember is that when he made up his mind, that was it. My brother said he'd die before he ate another mushroom, and he did. At Barbara's funeral, we swore we'd never be afraid again, and he wasn't. I think Calvin always wanted to fly.
Sam! Calvin! Dinner's ready! Coming!
But that day, he finally made up his mind to do it. I told him going around was impossible. And maybe if I hadn't said that,
Oh je. Oh je. Und Vollgas.
Calvin! I'm not gonna tell you again!
maybe if the wind hadn't picked up,
Oh.
then maybe he'd still be here. But I doubt it. I think he'd already made up his mind. That's what I want to remember about my brother.
Ja, wäre ich nicht, ne? Oh.
The day he made up his mind to fly. And he did.
Calvin's story felt strangely familiar. When I was younger, I remember trying to do the exact same thing. After the funeral, Edie roped off Calvin's half of the room. Mom said Grandpa Sam enlisted at 18 and never set foot in the room again.
Ein Haus voller Geschichten hier.
The passages were a pretty tight fit. They'd obviously been built for smaller hands and bellies. Growing up, I always thought of Barbara as a child star.
Ich was? Nee.
I never thought about how hard it must have been for her afterwards.
Daredevil Stories.
Of all the stories people wrote about Barbara's death, I'm surprised Edie saved this one.
Old Jack here with another ghastly tale inspired by America's most unfortunate family. I'm calling it The Surprise Ending of Barbara Finch. As a child star, Barbara was famous for her scream. Now at 16, she was all washed up. A has-been. But in a lucky break, she'd been asked to perform her signature scream at a local convention for monster movie fans. It was just the boost her career needed. Unfortunately, her scream hadn't aged well.
Getting better. I think you just need the right motivation.
Her biggest fan and current boyfriend, Rick, was about to demonstrate when...
Now that was a great scream.
It was Barbara's father, Sven. He'd slipped into a table saw and had to be rushed to the emergency room. So Barbara got stuck babysitting her youngest brother, Walter. Her convention comeback was cancelled.
Okay, I'm hearing frustration, but I'm not hearing terror. What if I tried...
A gang of hoodlums in Halloween masks have been terrorizing Orcas Island tonight. Police are urging residents to...
That came from the basement.
You're right! Also, I loved your delivery on that. Why is your basement door locked?
Because my dad likes making puzzles and secret passages. There's a key hidden in the music box. The secret is to keep winding and winding until finally the key pops out.
Thanks, babe. I'll be back in a sec.
20 minutes later, Rick hadn't returned. So Barbara went to look for him, right on cue. She reached for the music box.
Music box.